Pol Гаскойн is the special one.
He's made a brilliant run. Oh, Pol Гаскойн!
He was always someone who I looked up to for the way he played football and how good he was. I still think to this day he's the greatest England player.
Gascoigne. Oh, he leaves two for dead. Players in the middle. Oh, so close again.
Part of his genius, part of his magnificence, is the fact that he is so vulnerable. Without that vulnerable side, without that carefree side, and without all the things that come with Газза, I don't think Pol Гаскойн would have been the player that he was.
Gascoigne going to have a crack. He is, you know. Oh, brilliant!
He's the best in the world, honestly. The best in the world.
I remember Walter Smith coming in from training once and he grabbed us by the neck and he wanted a word with us and he was fucking serious. And he went, I've just been to see a psychiatrist about you. He says, there's nothing I can do about it. Just leave you, you're a genius. Now get the fuck out my sight. That was hilarious, you know, and I went, oh wow. I was born in Gateshead. I loved my childhood, you know, even though we didn't have much as a family. And my mum worked really hard, 3 or 4 jobs. But that's the way things were then, you know. A lot of people live for the weekends, like on a Saturday. The atmosphere around Newcastle, when it's match day, it's incredible. And everyone's got a buzz. Because when Newcastle win, it makes the weekend for everybody up there. And I mean, when I lived, I must have been about, I don't know, 8 miles away, and you could hear even the Gallagher then singing, you know. And all of a sudden you'd hear the crowd, and I'd get my ball out in the street in there, as if I was playing there. We used to play in the street where we all had the gates of the house. And we like to say that was my goal, that gate, and we used to use a tennis ball. And I loved it. All the kids would be doing other things and I would just be with this tennis ball non-stop. I remember watching a match once where Johan Cruyff did a turn. I was like, wow. And I just tried to remember how he did it and went out and practiced with a tennis ball. When I was 7, it was my birthday, and my dad bought us my first leather football. And this thing never left my foot. And I took it to the park, I took it to the school, I hid it so the teachers couldn't see it, and then after school I'd kick it about with the guys. And I remember one day I wanted to play football, and it was 7 o'clock at night, and I'm in my room and I've got this ball. So I climbed out the back window down the drain pipe and kept on kicking it in the back garden. And I just loved it. From 7 to 14 was Wretched Boys Club every night, you know. This is every night for years. And I absolutely loved it because we'd go there training for like 40 minutes or whatever, and then we got to play on the Saturday or the Sunday for the boys club and go away with it and just mix them with other guys who were decent footballers, you know. I just loved entertaining, you know, there's any other bit of feeling, just trying to put a smile on someone's face. When I scored. I remember all the parents cheering and all that, and it was a great feeling. I got the winner, so I thought, well, how good it would be to do that in front of, like, the Gallagher end, St James's Park. Growing up, Keith was my best mate. I used to be at his all the time. His mum, Maureen, was a lovely woman. His dad, Harry, was sound, I always watched Keith play, and he used to have a car, and he used to take us to the matches and that. I just felt like I had two families at that age, I was fortunate. And me and him used to go to Reggie Boys Club, and his little brother, Stephen. One day his mum says, look, Keith, take Stephen. And he was 8, and brothers are, and he went, no, I'm not going if Stephen's going. So I went, Paul, will you take Stephen? I went, yeah, I'll look after him. But I was only 10. So I'm taking Stephen, I must have got about 300 yards up the road, 200 yards. And we went to the shop, and I said, quick, let's run. And we run out the shop, and he was ahead of me by about a yard, and the car hit him. It was horrific. We must have went about 30 yards in the air, about 6 foot off the air, and just stayed that level, and shoes come off. He was hit that hard, and I ran down the street, knelt down on my knees, and put him on my lap. And I was just seeing his lips moving a bit now, and so he's like, come on, Stephen, you're all right, you're all right. And I seen his lips moving, not knowing that was his last movement. And I was stuck with this, and he passed away. He didn't move, obviously, and I was just like screaming, help, help. And this guy wouldn't get out of the car. And then I just had seen his mum coming, Maureen. She come running over, and it was like, I think it was my first funeral. It wasn't nice. I was only young, and I didn't know how to take it. I remember Keith coming upstairs, and he went, come on, Paul, it's okay. Give me a cuddle. And I'm lifting him out the coffin and kissing him and saying sorry. He's got cremated. And afterwards, Keith says, come on, just come and stay with me for a while. And I stayed in the room where the coffin was for 3 days. And that wasn't too good. I didn't even sleep, just wide awake, and just, I keep looking all the time and think, oh, that's where the coffin was. And then after a few days, I went back home, But she was affected for a long time, Maureen. I know that. Getting tablets to make her sleep. She couldn't sleep, and I don't blame her. Losing her son, and obviously Harry had to stay strong because he's obviously the father. But sadly, both of them passed away, with cancer, which I found out, which was quite upsetting. So I never really got to buy her that kettle I owed her, because I blew her kettle up, and I put the kettle on, and there was no water in, so she always remember, you owe me a kettle. I remember afterwards, I started developing twitches, like making stupid noises, and I couldn't get rid of flashing like that. And then my mum took us to a psychiatrist, and he wanted to play with sand. And I just went, Mum, don't take us back there anymore, and she didn't. So I think I started psychiatrist early. But we used to laugh about my mum and my brothers and my sisters. I wouldn't do it, and then all of a sudden, my sister combines went, Paul, do that, and then it would set us off again. Mum, she's doing it again. All the time I was playing when I was 14, I was just waiting for Newcastle, really. Fortunate for me, it happened, But I had to put in the work as well, it wasn't easy. them days, we had to get in early, put the kit out for the professionals. If they wanted a cup of tea, make the tea. Then we did clean the balls. At that time, the manager was Arthur Cox, tough cookie. He used to put the team sheet on a Friday, who was playing on a Saturday, and I touched the sheet. And I went, oh, look, it's certain, I think it was Neil MacDonald, because he was a good player and he was young and that. And I went, oh, Neil's playing. And I touched the sheet and he nearly took my ear off. He smacked us right across the ear. And I went, don't touch that effing sheet until you're on it. So that's what I meant to be a professional footballer. And I thought, shit, I'm in trouble. Yeah, and I was panicking. So I thought I made him a cup of tea and that. Pulsed the cup and made it perfect for him. And I took it in with my hand, the rib. Once again, he took my head off. You know, don't effing touch the top of that cup where I've got a drink from, mate. And he used to put his feet up like that and lie back on his chair. So I had to go and make him another one, and I made sure it was all done perfect. You know, and I made sure I never touched that sheet again.
What we doing now? We're standing out here, we're going inside the what?
Going in.
And being in, yeah?
I just seemed to know the man with England in 1966. And comes to the club, and I wasn't really in the youth team. I was subbing that. I wasn't really getting that much of a game. You know, after I finished training, go home and I'd like a bottle of pop, fish and chips and a bag of minstrels. And he pulled us aside, he went, "Can I have a word with you?" I was like, oof, I was shaking a bit. And I went, yeah. He went, yeah, you're a good player. I went, yeah, I am. He says, how long you got left in your contract? I went, ah. He says, yeah, I've got a couple of years. I went, oh, you've got 2 weeks, you fat bastard. You better start losing weight. But, you know, I would like to think it was puppy fat at 17. 16 and a half or something. But, yeah, I was 16 and a half. And I stopped the minstrel, stopped the Coke, bottles of Coke. Yeah, and I got weird every day. It worked, you know, within hardly playing for the youth team. Within a month, I was captain of the youth team. I was captain of the reserves, and took them on to, you know, we got to the Youth Cup final. Jack John, he went, what are you doing tomorrow, sort of thing. This was a Friday night after the game. And I went, well, I'm just going to go back and just chill out, you know. And he went, we'd like you to play for the first team tomorrow. And that was me starting my career. Once I stopped playing for Newcastle, it was the feeling was, the buzz was incredible, you know. Playing for your hometown and that, and then eventually, you know, 1 minute you were looking at the Gallagher and seeing the fans roar and that, and then eventually scoring in front of them, you know. It was amazing. It was fantastic. Like, wow, just think I've scored really like it. And tell me, Dad, I'll watch it the match of the day, you know. Then you hear the fans singing your name, you know. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's goals like that which have made Paul Гаскойн, or Газза as they all know him, a real hero to the people who stand on these terraces at St James's Park. He looks like the kind of footballer who plays for the local Sunday pub team, until you see him play, that is. The reason the supporters really love Газза is he's one of them. T-shirt, anorak and jeans, and a diet of Mars bars and brown ale. You won't find it in the coaching manuals, but when you can score goals like he scores, who cares?
The first time I heard the name Paul Гаскойн was when he was in his early days at Newcastle. People in the game started talking about this young man that had something a little bit special. He was a precocious young talent, a kid that would do things that would take people on, that would beat people, and had an unbelievable natural talent.
I think it's about 35 years since I've seen a kid as good as what this lad is. And I just can't believe the skills of him. He's got everything, everything. Sticks out a mile. And he'll tell you so as well, you know. Because
he's a confident lad.
Oh, confident. There's no holding him. He's the best in the world. Honestly, the best in the world.
man just say, right, Glenn, you're up against John Fashion, you're big, strong in the air and tough and all that. Peter BG, you're up against, this Andy Thorne, tough guy, good in the air, boom, boom. And he just went, Gazza, good luck. That was all he said. That wasn't mean good luck. When you're playing against a guy that is quite hard, Vinnie Jones. Coming out the tunnel, he just fucking looked at his neck like that. He went, me and you, fat boy. I went, oh shit. And I walked into the tunnel and I just looked at him again and went, you look at just me and you, fat boy. He says, I cannot play football and neither are you today.
Say that Vinnie Jones is marking Gascoigne.
And he followed us everywhere. This guy was just like solid. He wasn't like Billy, he was just solid. And he wouldn't leave us.
Oh, this is an amazing dribble. Goodness me, 4 of them.
As the game went on, I felt a bit more like confident in that. And I went, I fucking didn't bother with this guy. And he started backing up on us. So I sort of gave him a push, and that's when he squeezed me balls. I really squeezed him too hard and I was like, ah. Honestly, I thought I'd lost my family allowance. I got in the dressing room and some girls sent some roses. And I went, that's nice, I'll give them to Vinnie. So I went in and I said, can you give them to Vinnie Jones, please, from me? I went back to the dressing room and then the guy come back, a young kid. He went, that's from Vinnie. He was sending us back a toilet brush. He said, fuck off. That was my first experience with Vinnie, he's been a good friend since, I played for Newcastle for a year and a half then, and my name was getting around. Glenn Wood, I said, look, at Tottenham, Terry Venables wants to sign you at the end of the season. And I just thought, well, Tottenham was a big, massive club, so was Newcastle, but they were buying players. When I spoke to Terry Venables, he says, one thing I can promise you, if you come to this club, I will get you to play for England. And, the thought of playing for England, wow. And then all of a sudden, Man United come in. I thought, oh, Man United, Sir Alex Ferguson, the experience of the guy is phenomenal. So I spoke to Sir Alex, says, yeah, I'm going to sign for you. And he went, brilliant. He says, so I can go on holiday now. I've got the player I want. I says, yeah, you go away, go on holiday, I'm signing and really enjoy yourself. He went, cheers, son. So I'm on the way to Man United, and then Tottenham said, look, I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll buy your parents a house. I'm fucking, a house. I ring my dad up, and I said, Dad, I want to sign with Man United. And really, Spurs has offered to buy your mum a house. And he went, what the fuck are you waiting for then? It was brilliant. I went, okay. And then he went, hiring a car for us. So I went, hold on, Dad. So I went, Terry, Dad wants a car. I was shitting myself. And he went, consider it done. So I'm driving up the motorway, phone goes again. I went, oh, no, it's family. I went, yeah, it was my sister. So when Paul, well, if my mum's getting a house and my dad's getting a car, I want a sunbed. So I went, hold on, he's not a house, it's quite nice and that. My sister's room's quite good. I said, okay, Cece, you can have a sunbed, please. And he went, okay, and get his sunbed for his sister. And that was it. Same for Spurs. The pressure was on. Highest transferred player in the country, 2.2 million. You look at it now, some people get that a month. But for that moment, to go for 2 million, the pressure was on.
Spurs coming forward again. This is Chris Waddle, made a bit of space for himself. Fine run by Gascoigne, real chance, denied. He lost his boot in the process, but that is his first goal for Spurs, and it was scored without a boot.
It was a sort of impudence.
Gascoigne. Oh, wonderful.
He had great confidence. You could see he played for the love of the game, completely for the love of the game. He didn't obviously give it too much thought. And he had this amazing strength of the body where he pushed people off.
He excited you on the pitch. It mightn't have been the best of games, but he lifted everyone when he got the ball, and you could feel that anticipation.
Gascoigne taking the ball on and scoring superbly. And did he enjoy that?
And you get fan mail. The fan mail started coming thick and fast in there. I remember opening my first fan mail. It was from Sir Alex Ferguson. It's like, oh shit. He went, I can't believe what you've done, you stupid bastard. Kid, you've turned down the biggest club in the world. He says, you know, I turned down all these Barcelonas, Madrid, and AC Milan. Come Man United, you took me to go on my holiday, you signed my fucking Spurs. Took him 6 years to get speaking to us again. I loved it at Spurs. You know, the times I had there was fantastic. The fun and the laughs we had, you know, the team spirit was absolutely brilliant. I think Terry Venables was the only manager I could think of in this world that could deal with it. I remember halfway through the season, the lads went, I thought you do crazy things, Gazza. I went, yeah, I do. I went, we'll do something tomorrow. So I'm driving home and I passed a zoo. And I just looked and I went, that'd be interesting. The guy's house was actually in the zoo. I went to his house about 7:30 in the morning, knocked on his door. He went, what do you want, Gazza? I went, can I borrow an ostrich? What do you want an ostrich for? I said, I just need to fucking borrow one. Sticking in the back of the car, and the ostrich giving out this long neck, man. And I waited till the lads went out warming up, and I got the ostrich. I went, yeah, lads, look at the snoop there, Terry Venables side, the gaffer's side, and I threw it on the pitch. And it was so funny because the lads were doing side-to-side running, and the sausage was doing the same behind. I thought it was quite funny. All the lads did, but the lads finished training at 1 o'clock. Have you ever tried catching a fucking ostrich? Honestly. I caught this ostrich. I got the ostrich back around about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I was knackered.
Well, the training ground experience, like anything else with Gazza, is always great fun. A practical joker, beyond the likes of which I don't think I've ever seen before or after. Didn't always know where the line was, would occasionally cross it.
Honestly, Garri Lineker's got a woman's body, so smooth and everything. Honestly, he could have close to the body of a lady boy.
We used to have a guy coming along to training, nice chap, do anything for you. One day, Gazza had brought in this camper van, and he'd got one of those parking cones. He climbed up and he put it on the roof. This chap comes out. Gazza shouts to him. He says, "Hey, do us a favour. Just nip up there and get the cone off the roof. Somebody's put it on the roof of my van." So he goes, "Yeah, sure." And he climbs up the ladder on the back, and he gets up. And as he does so, Gazza switches the thing on and goes and drives out. Now, the fellow is hanging on this ladder on the back of this, and he goes out of the gates at the old training ground in Mill Hill, turns right, and there's a little mini roundabout about 200 yards up the hill. He goes up this roundabout. The fellow now is like Superman, horizontal, hanging on to this ladder at the back. It was the most dangerous but hilarious thing I think I've ever seen. And he went round the roundabout, screeched back, still... Somehow he hung on, thankfully. Otherwise, it could have been disastrous. Screeched back into the car park, parked it, let him... Everyone's crying with laughter. And as he pulls in, Terry Venables walks out. And he comes out and he goes, "I don't want to be seeing this, really, do I?" And he walks straight back in again.
I think if you just let someone have their head completely, that can go out of control and you can blossom the person. If you keep right on top of them, you stifle it. It's the personality that he is. I mean, he's a joy to have in the club. The players like him. You know, he's a kind fella, and he's got a lot of heart and warmth.
Terry Venables was brilliant. Yeah, I think it was the 10th game. And he says, Gaz, I need to see you. He showed it from his window because his office was upstairs. I thought, shit, well, I'm in trouble here. What have I done? And he says, sit down. And he kept a serious face. I haven't done anything wrong, Gaffer. I haven't. And he went, I've got some news for you. And I was like, oh, yeah? He went, he'd been picked for England. Wow. I feel like crying now thinking about it.
I worked with Mr. Robson, and Mr. Robson was really in love with Paul and was permanently speaking about his talent and about the pleasure he had to coach such a talented player.
He is a rare talent which we need to nurture, and we need to give him his head sometimes, and he needs just to be disciplined as well.
I don't think going into 1990 expectations were that high. Obviously, England had underachieved since '66 when we won the World Cup. Inside the camp, I think we were, quietly confident. You'd look around, you go, we've actually got a really good group of players here. We've got half a chance if things go our way.
In that World Cup, there wasn't anybody that stood out, especially from the first game. It was Cameroon versus Argentina. With Maradona and that playing, and Cameroon won 1-0. And you think, wow, everybody's got a chance here, you know.
The game against the Dutch was the game that Газа emerged as being a genuinely world-class talent. Газа was brilliant, unbelievably brilliant. I remember him, he was chasing Bruce Gullit and pulling his dreadlocks, and he was winding Gullit up, and he was going, who is this kid? What's he doing?
The one thing I used to love about watching Paul play was how he got the ball and he ran at defenders with the ball. And nowadays, he mightn't get away with it, but he'd always protect himself with his arms. It's a great art to be able to do, and to not let the defenders near you.
Gascoigne. This is brilliant stuff from Gascoigne.
He was aggressive, very physical, at the same time very technical. Fantastic characteristics that you need to be a top football player.
Shiva went for it, and I sort of tackled him, but what happened was I brought my other foot across and sort of tried to get him a whack a little bit as well, and the referee's seen it.
The Belgians unhappy with that, and Gascoigne gets a yellow card.
I forgot about the yellow card. A couple of minutes after I got boots. I just want to give me all the players we had, give all for England, you know.
A battle against the clock here for sure.
I was thinking what to do with the ball. Well, I was just going to try and just whack it towards the keeper, but then Bobby Робсон, I could hear him, but I dare not look at him. And I can hear him screaming, just chip it in, you know, and eventually, we got butchered forward, and then I did the worst pass in the world. I chipped it to David Platt, made him a player, devastated.
Gascoigne's free kick, and Platt! David Platt has scored for England!
It was the explosion of different emotions. It wasn't just the joy of the fact that this was a last-minute stunning winner. It was also the fact that we haven't got to take penalties.
England through to the quarter-finals, and Gascoigne's reaction said it all.
Afterwards, it was brilliant, because after the game, and we're all in the dressing room and diving in the bath and doing somersaults and everything, you know, over the moon to get through that one. The atmosphere in the dressing room was incredible. Incredible, because we were under a lot of pressure with that game, you know.
Falling for it. With Stuart Pearce looking long to the far post. And David Platt!
We took the lead, David Platt, and then they scored 2 goals.
And it's 1-1. And Cameroon are in the lead.
Whilst we knew they were a good side, if we'd have come home losing to Cameroon, You know, they would have been the first African side to make the semi-finals of the World Cup. We'd have been ridiculed. You know, then there was a little ball knocked into me. I turned, got brought down, penalty.
Lineker scores! And it's all square at 2-2.
Often, the only way you'd have a chance of getting the ball off Газа was actually if he knew you had no alternative but to give it him straight back, a little 1-2. Unless he was completely knackered, then you've got a chance as well. A la extra time against Cameroon, quarterfinals of the World Cup.
England much more on top now. This is Gascoigne. Oh, and that's a great ball to Lineker. He's got away, and he's brought down another penalty, surely.
That pass there, which he was capable of all the time but didn't do very often, was because he couldn't run anymore.
Straight down the middle, but England are back in the lead.
We were in a World Cup semi-final. You know, we'd done better than any other team had ever done for England, apart from on our own shores.
Gascoigne has done so much to pull England into the semi-finals, and no one appreciates that more than his manager, Bobby Robson.
England's footballers are preparing for their most important game since winning the World Cup in 1966. They fly to Turin later today for Wednesday's semi-final against West Germany.
The night before the game, the semi-final, it was all like, I was rooming with Chris Waddle, and it was 10:30, and I was with Chris, and I went, I can't sleep, I'm going for a walk. I was out for a walk, and I just heard some guys playing tennis. So 2 Americans, I went, can I join in, lads, I'll challenge you. So I was working me nuts up to beat these 2 Americans, and I can hear Газа. And I just see it, so Bobby Robson. I've ran to my room. About 5 minutes later, smashing at the door, so Bobby Robson, bang like mad. Open the door. Chris, where's Газа? And so I looked at Chris and went, tell him I'm sleeping. He went, he's sleeping, Gaffer. He went, sleeping? He's just been playing tennis. And Chris looked at us and I went, and that was it. And the letter come through the door, I'll see you in the morning. So I didn't sleep well that night because I thought he was going to drop us.
Bobby Robson wanted a team meeting with all the players, but he was late for the meeting. He was always a bit late. And whilst he was late, I put on this board, I put even money, he mentions the war. Then I put the sheet back down. So Bobby comes in and he dresses, we're all sitting there and he goes, we beat them in the war. It was his first words, and it was just, and then there was this uproar in the whole room. And Bobby's going, what's going on? What? So I said, might want to turn. So he turned it over and he went, you bugger.
Team's just about to appear, and the atmosphere here in Turin is absolutely wonderful. Huge support for both sides, huge anticipation.
All you can hear is just this unbelievable noise, you know, and it's the longer you're in the tunnel, the worse it gets. Try not to listen, you put a deaf ear to it, you know, because all you think is like, win this and you're in the final of the World Cup, which England haven't done it since 1966, you know. I just seen the way the players had passion in them there, you know, they stood up 3 lines and sing the national anthem, and it was incredible. The adrenaline was unbelievable. I think that was one of my best games for England. Nearly scored in the first 5 minutes.
Gascoigne! Oh, he's close. Right start for England.
I didn't realise that we were actually much the better side on that day.
Pierce is challenged, and that's a free kick for West Germany. Wall. This is Bremer. Oh, and it was deflected and over Peter Shilton. How unlucky. Parker. Lineker forward, but somewhat out outnumbered. Oh, but he's stolen it! And it's 1-1, and the England players and fans alike go wild. Wonderful comeback. And fast does it all. What about that hug?
And then obviously the famous, the second yellow card.
Gascoigne striking off the challenge, and then losing it a bit and stretching for it, and that could be trouble.
And honestly, if I look at it back at that, I honestly don't think I even touched the guy. He's took the ball, and my foot that's actually supposed to have kicked him was behind his heel. You know, I didn't seem I made any contact whatsoever. And he's rolling all over as if I like done him in badly. The scream pissed me off more, and I think he screamed like a baby, and it's like. So I tried to put my fingers in his mouth and try and shut him up, but obviously he's carried on squealing. When I get kicked, I take it as a compliment. That means they're worried about it, you know. And I could never bring myself rolling all over, you know, especially where I'm from and that.
It's a yellow card for Paul Гаскойн. He's already had one in this tournament, and his face tells the story. He knows that if England get to the final, he will not be a part of it.
All I kept thinking about was, God, get the final, I'm missing it, you know, and I worked so hard to get to where I was, you know, semi-final of the World Cup, and then obviously the crying. After a couple of minutes, I just thought to myself, give me all in the last 20 minutes and get the lads to the final, you know. And if you ever look at the last 20 minutes, I worked me nuts off.
It will be England's first ever penalty shootout. What a time for it to come. Place in the World Cup final at stake.
At that stage, at the end of the game, Газа then goes, that's my World Cup over. So, you know, that's it. Whatever happens now, I'm not going to be playing again.
When Sir Bobby come up to the pitch, you know, he hugged us and he went, look, you've done me proud, you've done the country proud, you've done your family proud, your club proud, your manager proud. And it was really nice of him to say that, you know, and come up to us. But I just didn't feel right to take a penalty.
Between him and Bobby Robson, they decided that perhaps it was best that he wouldn't take one. I wish he had. The overriding feeling that you get from scoring a penalty in a shootout is one of relief. You know, well, it ain't gonna be my fault, which is a terrible thing to say, but, you know, we're human beings, and, you know, the one thing you would never want to do is be the person that misses the penalty that will be shown forevermore.
You know, you don't shed tears on a football pitch if you don't care about playing for your country. It was incredible, really. If I'm sitting here now saying to my children or explaining about Paul Гаскойн, then I'd say he's probably the most exciting English player I've seen, and certainly the best.
There's loads of tears in the dressing room. I've never seen anything like it, you know. And we're all sitting there in tears and waiting for Sir Bobby. Anyway, look, guys, you've done me so proud. You know, we'll go out and we'll live it, we'll enjoy ourselves tonight. And he was welling up. And when the players, I suppose, when they seen him welling up, you know, everyone joined in with him, and it was. I would never have that feeling again. You know, I've had great feelings in my career, but that certain moment where we're just that close. I mean, a penalty kick 12 yards away from getting to the final. We're on the plane and I come to land in Garri Lineker was come up to us and he went, "Paul, be careful." And I didn't have a clue what he was on about. Be careful for what, you know?
I think it lifted him from being a great footballer to almost a national treasure, a great personality. It was the moment that a nation cried with an English footballer.
I don't think I'll ever witness anything like that again. You know, when you're getting a crowd like that singing your name, I know I've had it at Wembley, where there's been 80,000, but 120,000. I remember Peter Beasley coming up to us on the bus, and he went, "This is for you, you know, this is for you," and it was like, wow. It's one of them things where you just couldn't take it in, you know. One was just playing for England in the World Cup, but actually taking it all in, it was hard. And then when I got home, my dad had organised a party back at the Working Men's Club, and had a party in there, which was brilliant, really back in the hometown, you know. And I always remember there's a bit, the next day after the party, I went up to the local park, and it was empty, and I just stood there myself and just thought, this is where I come from. Stood there for an hour, you know, and it was a touching feeling to say, I come from this town and playing a World Cup. I was years ago just a young kid running about with a tennis ball and come back. 22 heroes out there, and I was one of them.
The tears that flowed on that summer night in Italy have swollen since then into a flood of national adulation. Paul Gascoigne is Gazza. Gazza is at the centre of Gazzamania. Fame and the trappings of fame on and off the football field are his life now.
Does any of you girls want to do in the news of the world? You got to come to bed with us.
It's one of them things that I didn't think you could ever get used to, you know, even to this day. Just everything was coming thick and fast, and even the money, you know, and the holidays and taking the family to Disney World, things I'd only dreamed of. Sometimes it was like 7 o'clock at night, I'm sitting outside in the summer having a beer or whatever, and the old ladies come up and prodding us in the chest. And what are you doing? Go home, it's 7 o'clock at night, it's bedtime. Yeah, it was unbelievable. So I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move anywhere. I was just become daft, you know, how could I handle it? I couldn't really handle it, you know, I was living on my own in London.
All right.
I'm sure. Look, I was going to say to you, you're in a position that most young men would say is a dream. But from my perspective, having experienced a tiny piece of the kind of attention you're getting, it could turn out to be a nightmare, you know.
Could be, but I'm trying my best not to let it turn out that way, you know.
The same newspapers that are building you to the skies and hyping you up are also trying to give you advice, say things, will this young man be able to handle all that attention?
Yeah, they're building me right up. It's unbelievable, and I can't believe what's happening. Like I say, at the end of my road, outside my house with cameras and everything. It's frightening, really, because all I want to do is just live my own life. It's when I found out how bad the press can be, you know. Once you're famous, people think it's great, it's not. There's only one way to go there, and it's down, and the press try the hardest to put you down. We were writing anything, just anything they could, and most of it was lies. I started drinking, which is an easy way out of it. It's just, you know, how can you, you know, it's one of them, well, how can you adjust to that? I did a piece in the news world saying it's okay for people with asthma to do sports. And it was a big spread in the news world, and as long as you use this asthma thing. My cousin, my dad's brother's son, he was only 12 or something like that. I remember ringing us up and he said, Uncle Paul, this thing I've just read in the news world, I've got asthma, it's okay if I haven't played football. And I went, yeah, as long as you use it properly. And he went out and I got called 20 minutes later, he died. That was really hard to take. And then, you know, I found out he went and played football, but he didn't take his asthma thing. It didn't make things any better. But, you know, I think if I hadn't did that piece in the news world and he hadn't seen it, maybe everything would have been all right, you know. And then, you know, I was having sleepless nights again. A couple of tics come back. That's the only time where I started realising that the 90 minutes on the football field was me. I was alone in the zone and no one could touch us. I've had problems and I went on the pitch for 90 minutes, then went. But after the game finished, then they come. Never be left alone with your own thoughts. That can be dangerous.
The Spurs and England footballer Pol Гаскойн is reported to be on the verge of joining the Italian club Lazio. Talks are taking place in Rome between representatives of the two clubs, and if the deal goes through, Gascoigne's expected to become the richest player in the world.
I always knew about my heart. I always wanted to play in an FA Cup final. All I ever wanted to do was walk up them stairs, being a winner. Yeah, I really wanted to do that, you know.
We managed to get through the FA Cup, mainly because of Газа, to be perfectly honest. He almost single-handedly sort of thrust us through to the semi-final. I mean, there are various derbies around the world. They're all hugely significant and mean so much to the supporters of those clubs. It's the game that really counts. And in North London, it's no different. Arsenal were unbelievably strong at that stage. They were running away with the league. Everyone thought they were going to do the double. And we went into that game as huge underdogs.
Gascoigne, one of the keys for Tottenham, and he's really up for it. Back to Gascoigne. One way and then the other. Neatly done. The late challenge with the free kick.
when you're actually lining up for a free kick like that, I'm thinking what to do with it, and all of a sudden, Garri Lineker, he come up and he just went, have a go. I went, okay, and he ran past.
Gascoigne gonna have a crack. He is, you know. Oh! Brilliant!
The FA Cup brings magical moments. I think that's what makes it so special. To get it over the wall and into the top corner from so far out is it's nearly impossible, really. You've probably practiced that, you know, that week 30, 40 times and maybe scored one from the same situation, but so when it happens in a game, it's just pure excitement. Unbelievable goal and still probably one of the best FA Cup goals to this day.
It's Tottenham Hotspur's day to the delight of Gary Mabbott. But what an inspiration this man has been to them with that wonderful free kick. They'll be back for the final.
I'm now away to get my suit measured. Yes!
What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it? Missed it.
I think all young lads from England will dream about winning a FA Cup. It's something which I still dream of, to be honest. I've never won the FA Cup and it's such a historic trophy.
Really, it was my first final. Missed, obviously, the World Cup final. And the times at Newcastle, I never got any final, so this was my first final. You try and take it in as much as you can, because you never know when you're playing another one. We were lining up and I seen Lady Diana come on the pitch, and she would come up and I went, "Can I have a kiss, please?" And she put her hand out, she got a bit embarrassed, and I kissed her hand. And a couple of lads were laughing. Yeah, it's the first time I played a match with a hard on. It was unbelievable.
Forrest attacking down the left. Gascoigne trying to turn. Oh, that's an awful challenge.
The tackle that come, I've went through the ball and I've lifted my leg high. It didn't even book as the ref. Really, sometimes on the inside, I wish I'd have been sent off for that.
Forrest coming forward again, trying to find a bit of space. Gascoigne coming across. Oh, that's a dreadful challenge! And he looks to be in agony.
I'm off balance and I'm just trying to put a massive tackle in. That was it. My knee just went, and I just went down. And I knew I was out.
Terry Venables, understandably concerned. And Gascoigne is carried off. His cup final is over.
John Sheridan come into the physio bit at Wembley. He had tears in his eyes. And when you see somebody that cares for you so much and seeing tears in the eyes, it was like, shit. So how long will I be out for? 3 weeks? I went, no. I went, shit. I went 3 months. He went, no. And I went 6 months then. And no, he went about the year. I burst down crying.
To know that you've done something really serious, to be in a hospital room watching your team lift the FA Cup, I can't begin to imagine the emotions that were going through his head.
That was it. Once I seen Gary Mabbott walk up the steps, lifting up the trophy, that destroyed us that, because that's all I want to do. If I could have done that, it was just like, I wouldn't be bothered if I played another match. I wouldn't have been bothered. And to miss out on that, it was unbelievable. And I went, I can never sleep in tablet, so I go to sleep. And I went, just wait a bit, and I didn't know what was happening. And then all of a sudden, about 2.5 hours after the game, the door smashed in. It was Gary Mabbitt with the FA Cup. The team come in, some of the players were with their wives and that. And I was like, my eyes must have been red, just crying. And then they went, all right, guys, we've got to go back to the party. I was like, surgeon to the surgeon, please just plaster me up. Let's go to the party. He went, Paul, say the party or your career. You think, am I going to be the player I was? And I just wanted to, you know, I just want to get back playing again. I had to, you know, I had a big move on. Spurs were making money from us. I the opportunity of playing abroad. And that's all I knew, football. I mean, 2 and 2 becomes 5. No, that's all I knew, football. When you're in a room, a window, working on the machines and all that, and you're seeing the lads on the field kicking the ball about and having fun, it destroys you a little bit, and sometimes you felt a bit lonely, you know. It wasn't too good. Just me and the physio, you know, constantly training. Because when you're into it, train twice as hard as the players to get back to match fitness. It was on the Friday and Terry Venables said, Paul, you can join in with the team now on Monday. And I was so excited. I went up to Newcastle and celebrated with the family. I'm training on Monday with the team. Went to a nightclub and a guy went past us deliberately and nudged us. And he went, you Pol Гаскойн? I went, yeah. But he banged us right in the chin. And I fell on my kneecap. I went to the hospital and I said, there's something wrong with my knee. And you know when you press your kneecap, I pressed my kneecap in, it wasn't there. I had no kneecap. I had to sit on the settee for 3 months just with my legs solid straight, you know, if I had any chance of making it again. So then that's so I had to wait another 6 months.
Gazza, welcome.
Seen anything like it was crazy. Bodyguards either side of it, they couldn't stop them back, and they were like throwing scarves at you, trying to squash you, and that. It was really scary. They're obsessed with football, full stop. It's one football country, that. It's incredible. It was like the highest paid transfer made in Italy, and they made a massive thing of it. Once you're idolised by the fans, it's non-stop. Back in England, you maybe have about 20 or 30 watching training. In Italy, they surrounded the pitch, surrounded, and you couldn't do anything about it, you know. And if you did, the team played bad, they would shake the fence, go off it. They really go off it. And some of the players, I could see, they're all on good wages, but they all had little banger cars. And I'm like, why you got little cars like that, you know? Because I realised when you played bad, you drive past them, they'd smash and bang, kick your car and everything. Yeah, it's like that, it's intense. The players put the panics up as, oh shit, Paul, if I lose this, I know people go out for weeks. That's what it was like. Come to the kick-off and it was like, then I got nervous. It was the first time really in a game that I've got nervous, got to win this game. And then obviously the game kicked off. We were getting beat 1-0. And then we got obviously the free kick. And I went over to take the free kick and Beppe Signori says, no, you get in the box. I went, no, I don't score many goals with my head. I said, you get in the box. And he went, well, I'm only 5 foot. So I was like, well, okay, and I'll go in the box. And by the time I got into the box, he was ready to take it. It was incredible. It was like, wow, I think you just won the war. I could live on that goal for a few years over there. It was brilliant. You know, I scored the first goal in a row at Derby, 105,000 people there. It was a phenomenal feeling. It really was. It was incredible.
You are my God. I believe in you. You are my God. Thank you. You are my God.
Oh my God.
I played against Maradona once in Seville, and I turned up for the game. I went, Diego, I said, I can't really play, but I'm a bit drunk. And when Gaza saw me, it was funny as fuck. And I started the game, and I got the ball, and I beat 5 players and smashed it in the bottom corner. Well, I always remember afterwards, I went to the press conference, please, I'm in trouble. And he went, no, so bad. And I think we both got fined of 40,000 each. And nearly, we trained twice a day. It was phenomenal, it was so hard. Their warm-up was like our training session in England. For instance, like, even if like you get beat 1-0, the president will come in and say, it's crap today. I'm sorry, but you won't be going home tonight after the game. You'll be getting straight on the bus and shooting off for 3 days. And he'd take you to a training camp and run you. We played this little 5-a-side game, and I let the guy go past us and he scored. Dino's off, went mad, and a couple of players. And I went, hold on, we playing serious, yeah? I said, do you want to play serious? And I went, okay then. And Nesta, he was a young kid, and the ball come, and I went for a crunching tackle, and I missed, and I had his calf. My leg was on the ground, and when he picked up my calf to have a look at it, the calf and my foot and my ankle stayed on the ground, and my calf come forward about 1 inch. The worst thing is, like, they didn't have any stretcher, so they had to get 4 guys carrying it. So when one was walking forwards, the other one was waiting, so my leg just felt like it was pulling. I was out for a year.
I don't think there's any question that the injuries that Газа sustained impacted his life, both on the pitch and off the pitch. And the more time you spend injured, the more time there is to get depressed about matters and perhaps to turn to drink or drugs or whatever it is that does it for you in those circumstances. And especially his personality, with his affection for the game and his love of playing, I think it had a real negative effect on him.
So I missed about 2 years, really, and playing out there, so I never got the chance to really, before I moved on to Rangers, to really show the fans what I really could do, you know. The time at Rangers was phenomenal. Really, really unbelievable. Because I had the press saying he wouldn't do it up here, and he wouldn't achieve anything up here, and he wouldn't this and that, you know. Unfortunately for the press, won the league, won the cup, won the other cup, so I didn't do too bad that year.
Celtic scrap. Rangers are the best. Rangers are the crappiest.
It's more hatred up there, it's horrific. In regards to Protestants against the Catholics, I've never witnessed anything like that, you know. The first match we had was like a friendly against Bucharest, and I just remember the fans singing, doing the sash, and one of the players said to us, I said, oh, this is the sash, and this is what it sort of means, and I didn't really take any notice, and I just remember scoring, I just thought it was the thing to the fans. And then the next day when I pick up the front page, because it is the sash, and then, whoa, when I read what it was all about, it was like, oh my God. The Protestants are allowed to walk down this Catholic road, and it's been going for years, and there always seems to be people killed every year doing it. And there's always riots and bombs and everything, and I never really took any notice of anything. And then I was just opening a mail, and I looked at it and I went, hi, my name's such and such. I'm from the IRA. I'm going to kill you. Yeah. He had his name, his address, his 2 mobile numbers. And I went, wow, this guy is serious. So I showed Walter Smith. And he went, oof, I better get the police. So 2 police come undercover, and they went, just look at that, we'll go and see him for you. And they flew over, so I'm waiting for their return. I'm shitting a break, and I'm going, fucking know what I'm going to do. I waited 3 days, and then they come to my house, and I went, right, we've seen the guy, he is serious, he is going to kill you. Fucking hell. So, hey, what are you going to do about it? He went, well, we can't do anything until he actually flies over. And we're not going to sit and wait at the airport call, because it might take months. So I'm like, oof. And he went, there's a thing, and it was like a round thing, that big, and I went, well, what's that? He just pulled it like that, and he went, that's a look on the car for bombs. So I'm like, shit. And then I went, can you ring up your family and tell them all to board the house up? I can board the windows up and all that in case they shoot through the windows and all that. For the first 4 or 5 games, I panicked. You just wonder if someone's in the crowd. You know, you can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be in a football pitch. You can be hanging outside your house. It lasted for 6 months. And then eventually I got the letter from this guy. And he went, right, you haven't done it for a while. If you honestly do that again, I will kill you. And that was okay, then I could relax.
England are assured of a really tough draw already. Now, would this be England in with Scotland? It is. England against Scotland.
Scotland is not in the national team. Scotland, a mixed of sheepshaggers. No, Scotland have got a better international record. We've qualified for 5 World Cups in a row.
Come on, that's it.
All right, that's what we've done. What have you done?
You've only played 5. You've only played 5 games.
You're home. You're home. 3 now. 3 games. No. Don't be fun.
The flack I took off the players 3 months prior to the tournament was horrendous. They were going to whop you, want to stick it right up here, and I was getting that every single day. And I said, oh, we'll see then. I said, you got to remember, I know how 7 of yous play. We had a little bit of a break. The season finished with a break before the championships. We went to Hong Kong. It was just like, I think it was like bonding. We did a little bit of training, it was a bit relaxing for a few days, and it was my birthday as well, so it was like, okay. And then Terry Venables says, look, you go out for the night, make sure you're back for like 12 o'clock. And then we went out. We went to this club. It was like a theme bar thing. And I just looked over and I would see what everyone was doing. And it was like a dentist chair thing. And you sat on it, and then the guy come behind you, a couple of guys, and he pressed the pedal, and it went back. And obviously, if you open your mouth and they poured cocktails down it, I give it a go. I didn't get any fillings done. but I got a few cocktails on my neck, and then Sol went, and then Terry Sheridan went, Steve McMahon, everyone, about 6 of us had to go, you know. The press got a hold of it, someone took a photo on the mobile phone, and then obviously sold the photo. That was unbelievable, the press wrote for one night out, and I get hammered for it. The headlines was like, kick him out the tournament, you know, he's not right and not ready. Well, I just had a full season winning medals and trophies at Glasgow Rangers. All I had to do was just wait till I start playing football again, back on the football pitch, where I felt safe.
Was in the Euro at Wembley, England against Scotland. I took my wife to the game, which normally we don't do often. My wife was pregnant of our first child, and she was pregnant of something like 6 months, and you know, she was so upset with me because I made her walk so much to get into Wembley. But I think I couldn't have a better game of football. And Paul in that match was magnificent, and he scored one of the goals that belongs to his fantastic history.
I still think, to this day, it's the most iconic England goal of all time. I think his vision, his creativity, the composure, the skill. Finishing it the way he did, and then the celebration as well. I think it's all rolled into a fantastic goal.
Before the game, I said to the guys, I went, listen, whoever scores, get on your back and pretend you're doing the dentist chair. And someone get the Lucozade bottles and squeeze it in you know, just to wind up the press, have a go back at them and that. It was ironic that I scored it, so it was perfect. I think it was a case of Paul just proving wrong, which was a doddle. It's just unfortunate it was Lucozade and not gin, because I would have played better then. Who said to me that I never had a laugh when I was drinking? You know? I've had great times when I've been drinking with the guys. I'm a game of dominoes and pool and stuff like that. It's when sometimes, you know, when I sit alone and I have a drink, then that's when I can be dark and depressing. I just have bad little blips where I'm not Paul anymore, you know? I'm not Газа, I'm not Пол Гаскойн, I'm just alone. Which I sometimes don't like. I have been close to death twice, I must admit. But I managed to pull through, and it's an illness I have, and you know, I'll probably go for the rest of my life. It's whether I accept it or not. Sometimes I find it hard, sometimes I find it really easy. I know how to stay sober and I know how to relapse. I'm good at both, really.
Good evening. The news of the world phone hacking scandal started as one bad apple, a rogue journalist, or maybe two who'd taken their supposed investigations a little too far. Today, the dam broke.
It was a few years ago, and something happened with my phone a lot. And I remember calling my dad up and I would get cut off. And my dad said something with his phone, and something cut off. I said, I wonder if I'm getting tapped. Then I remember speaking to my mum once, and it come out in the papers. So I rang my mum, I said, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you speaking to the papers, Mum? You're the only one I've talked to. I've not talked to anybody. And she got upset and she went, I haven't. I says, you have. She says, Mum, you're the only one I've just said. So I didn't speak to her for a week. And then I spoke to my dad, and then that come out in the papers. So I went off, I didn't go off with my dad. I just, never went off for him. I just went, Dad, he spoke to the papers, he's telling a story on it. And it was embarrassing for me to do that. And then I started drinking too much. And then I was like, I started getting paranoid. I didn't speak to my family for a few months. You know, I didn't speak to anybody. You know, I just started drinking. And that's when I came out to coke. And this was about 11 years ago, and I was doing that. And then I went to the spy shop, and I bought gadgets that are money's worth. So I kept on ringing my family. Then I started speaking to the family, and I said, hey, phone's getting hacked. I said, someone's listening to my conversations, and my family went, there's something wrong with you. You're paranoid. What I started doing was texting myself. So I'd text myself and say, listen, you C-U-N-T. I know what you're doing, you bastard. You're going to get the police on you. And then all of a sudden I made a call and it'd be free. So I knew I wasn't. And then a couple of weeks later, I'd start again. I stayed indoors, went to the hotel, got out of the house because I thought my house phone was getting hacked. I went to the hotel, started drinking in the hotel for 5 weeks or 6 weeks. My family come to me, then they'd seen the way I was, the state I was in. They wouldn't come, seen me drinking too much. And the family weren't answering the door to us. They were shutting the curtains in case I turned up. And then I got sectioned. My sister sectioned. She's crazy. The guys went crazy. And to be fair, I think case of actually saved my life. And then I rang Scotland Yard Police. And I went, this is my number. Listen to every phone call I make for the next 6 months. And then bang, got him. You know, to get found that I was right, it was a great feeling. You know, somebody, I don't think I deserve to go through that. And nobody did. Nobody. I mean, look, the damage it did to Princess Diana. Where's she now? I didn't want the damages. I didn't want a payment from them. I just wanted to go to court and tell the judge exactly how much they've damaged me.
There's no question that Газа is one of the most loved people in our country. Yes, he's made his mistakes, but who doesn't? I think what made him so special was the lack of fear in his game, that he would try anything. He would never be scared that something would go wrong. And probably more than anything else, the love of showing off the abilities that he had. And I think that's what lifts him apart.
In terms of overall, all-round player, then I think none of them can compare to Pol Гаскойн. I trained with him a few times when I was young and playing for Everton, and that was a great honour for me. You could see the talent was incredible, and it was great to watch up close and try and learn from the greatest player England have had. There was the one time he come in the dressing room when we were in the youth team, and he asked if any of the players were going out later on that night. So I was the only one who said there was. So he gave me £40 to go out. Again, it shows his character, what he is, and I don't think there's any other player in the Everton dressing room at the time who would have come in and even spoke to us as a group of young players. I'll have to give him that £40 back.
He was what he was as a player, he is what he is as a man. 200 miles per hour. And when you go so fast, it's dangerous. So obviously, his career could be even better if he was supported in a different way. The clubs, they are much more ready to support players and to bring players in the right direction. But in the end of the day, I like always to think that he enjoyed every moment of his career. So I don't know if it was better to be even a better player but don't enjoy so much, or to be what he was as a player but enjoy so careers as much as you do.
I love the buzz of going out in the end of the row and singing your name, you know. Give them a goal in the top corner, you know, and you get the lads jumping on you in the buzz and shaking your hand. And it's just one big fairy tale, which eventually comes to an end. Me in my life, I'd probably like to be remembered for being the Paul Гаскойна that people have met throughout my life. And I like to think the people around us, I made them proud, I made myself proud, and everybody else that was involved in my life proud. Mum and Dad especially. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers.